And I was trying to remember all of that. So far, I got that right. I'm giving you some behind-the-scenes knowledge there. Let's dive into the papers, and we're going to kick off with the Express, because it, like many of the papers, is leading with the earthquake that hit Myanmar yesterday. A lot of the pictures on the front page are the collapse of a construction site, or a high-rise building being built in Bangkok, partly because many pictures are difficult to get out of Myanmar.
Yes, so that is a very difficult challenge with Myanmar. There's a lot of restrictions on journalists there, so we can't get a lot of social media output, especially, is restrained too. So the pictures are a lot from the surrounding neighbouring countries that experienced massive damage from this 7.7 magnitude earthquake, as well as Myanmar. This building was an under-construction skyscraper in Bangkok, where many have unfortunately lost their lives, and I think they're still sifting through the rubble to find people. But the Daily Express's splash, which says hundreds feared dead in quake horror, sadly, we now know it's over 1,000, and the death toll is expected to climb further in the aftermath. And the situation is so dire that the ruling junta have made a rare plea for humanitarian aid internationally. So, and this comes as a lot of cuts to their humanitarian aid have been made, particularly by the US as well, which I actually didn't realise until this happened, which naturally I don't think it was, didn't make big news.
Well, the fact that USAID had been cut right back, but the kind of implications when you have
for nations
like this.
Well, exactly, because they were actually the biggest funder with humanitarian aid. So I think it was $200 million a year.
And yet Donald Trump, I think, has said that they will send help to the region, but that does raise some questions, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but obviously the UK government as well is cutting international aid funding from 0.5% of GDP to 0.3% to boost defence spending, which is fine if you want to make that choice. But when things like this happen, then the global community has got no option than to step up and find the money to help rebuild or save lives, help with the reconstruction. I mean, it's going to be an enormous operation, and it does go against what has become a sort of political trend to move away from international aid.
Yeah, in a country already experiencing a huge number of challenges even before this happened in Myanmar. Let's move on to some of the other stories around. Kevin, take us to, which paper is this? The Mail.
Yeah.
And this is their take on the trip by J.D. Vance to Greenland yesterday.
Yeah, it's quite a funny one. I mean, he went all the way to Greenland and basically just spent time with US troops. There was an initial plan to go to a dog sled race, but that was cancelled basically because there'd be protests, which kind of suggests that maybe America's presence in Greenland isn't all that welcome. They're obviously, Trump, we thought he was joking, I think, when he was talking about taking over Greenland, but he's serious by all accounts. Now, J.D. Vance set out a little bit more of their thinking. He says that what we think is going to happen is that they will choose, the Greenlanders will choose through self-determination to become independent, and then we'll have conversations. But, why? I don't understand why, if they choose to become independent, which apparently is the long-term aim of the new coalition government in Greenland, why would they then choose to sort of cut ties with Denmark, only to throw their lot in with America? Now, not only that, Denmark subsidises Greenland to the tune of £420 million every year. Does Trump want to take on that bill, given that he's cutting spending left, right and centre? And there will obviously be an awful lot of public opposition to it. Greenlanders don't seem to be terribly pro-America.
No, but I think from Trump's perspective, not that I'm defending this particular standpoint, but it's about international security, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's about
definitely.
the proximity, the waterways in Russia. And
he's pitching that, and J.D. Vance was saying this yesterday, that Greenland's vulnerable to alleged incursions by China and Russia. So he's suggesting it's good for Greenland because we can help provide security for them too.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... And there's no question that the High North, as it's called, is a key geopolitical area in terms of Russian interests, Chinese interests. So there's no doubt, I think he does have a bit of a point there, but just the idea that you can just basically take over a country, it's a bit like Putin, let's face it, that's what he's trying to do with the Ukraine, is against the wishes of the population. I think you'll run into quite a lot of problems there.
OK, let's move on to an article inside The Guardian, and this is focusing on Jeff Bezos's wedding in Venice. And they've got a picture there of the Clooneys. I'm not sure if they're amongst the invited guests, but I think they're referring to the fact that, I think 10 years ago, was it, that they got married in the city as well?
11 years ago now, which is in 2014, they got married there, and they're basically comparing the two by saying tour guides were quite happy at the time with Amal and George's wedding, saying they were very kind, easygoing, perhaps seemed less invasive than the couple planning on getting married there this June, which is, of course, billionaire Jeff Bezos, Amazon founder, and the former TV journalist Lauren Sanchez. We know that they have rented out all of the water taxis in advance, and apparently they have fully booked five of Venice's most high-end hotels already too.
Everyone else has to swim.
Everyone else has to, exactly. But it's interesting because you would have seen this as sort of a boon to tourism, and the mayor already said, you know, thank you, this is going to bring in millions of euros to our city. But actually then we've got tour guides who obviously would profit off of increased tourism saying, no, this is going to be a nuisance. We are already facing over tourism and sort of a litany of problems related to that, and this is just going to hoist another set of issues on our city, and it's overcrowded. And I don't know if it's a political standpoint because of the proximity to Trump. We know Ivanka and her husband might be invited to the wedding. Indeed,
can you imagine
Trump
that?
might be invited to the wedding.
Imagine that, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on the guest list, Kevin?
I'm not, but interestingly, Oprah Winfrey is, and she seems to get invited to every wedding that's gone. She was at Harry and Meghan's wedding. Yeah. She might well have been at George Clooney's wedding. I've no idea. She just seems
all the right friends.
Permanently,
all the invitations.
Permanently going to weddings.
That'll be fascinating. Now, I know that this is the most excited I've seen you about a story for a while, Kevin. This is an article next from The Times.
Yeah, this is a completely mad story. It's really funny, I think. Now, we all remember the phrase Brexit means Brexit. Theresa May coined it when she was Prime Minister. Well, it turns out that it has now become a phrase used by young footballers. It's a YouTube, TikTok thing, that Brexit means a really tough tackle. So if somebody gets, like, hacked down, they've been Brexited. And somebody who performs really hard tackles is a Brexiteer. I just think it's really hilarious. And they say it's sort of about, you know, it's a kind of like an English thing, you know, it's like the traditional blood and guts type of British football. And it's all about Brexit. So there you go. I just think it's really, really funny.
That is very funny. Sadly, we haven't got any more time to discuss it. I'm going to Brexit you both. That doesn't work. We're out of time, is what I'm saying. But it's been really lovely to have your company, both of you. Kevin and India, thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
We've got your Sunday mornings covered.